Welcome to Speaking of Strong Style, where we discuss the news, issues, and events surrounding New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this time a little bit more than just New Japan Pro Wrestling. My name is Steven Conway. With me, as always, is Jeremy Finestone. We are contributors to the Fight Game Media Network. Glad you're here. This is a very special, a little quicker show than usual, but we wanted to make sure we got it in as we preview the historic crossover card, the very first of these combined events, fully combined events of New Japan Pro Wrestling and the women's promotion, the top women's promotion in Japan, STARDOM. Jeremy, we're only a couple of days away. This looks like a terrific card. I'm excited about this. A little bit of history will be made here, no doubt about that. And it's going to be an interesting night of wrestling, not long after Full Gear, so a full weekend should be great.
The hours of delay in between are probably going to be one of the most quiet times of wrestling this weekend. But, Steven, let me ask you this. Does it feel like this show doesn't have as much buzz as it should?
The historic crossover show you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that there are a lot of people that are pretty interested in it, actually. I felt like it's all right. Now, it's not on the level of like a Wrestle Kingdom or a G1 final or anything like that, but I do feel like there's a little bit going on with it, and I think there's a lot of interest in seeing how Great Muta's final New Japan match turns out. I think there is a little bit of that, and but you know, maybe not. This might be something that we look back at later and say this was a bigger deal than we realized it was. But maybe as just someone who's a big New Japan nerd, I'm pretty excited about it anyway. But yeah, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised by it because the people that they have chosen from STARDOM may not be familiar to New Japan fans, but I think they're going to be impressed by them.
Yeah, I'm super excited. The only thing I was thinking was like when they call it a big deal. It feels like a big deal with a lowercase b, and like it should be a big deal with an uppercase b. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like that level of hype, and like this is a very special like show in a lot of ways. This crossover in Japan, and when they announced it, it felt like this huge deal that this was happening, and I just like that momentum. I feel like it could have been bigger going into this weekend, and I don't know why that is.
Well, we have a pretty big men's title match. The U.S. title match is a pretty big one. There's going to be some consequences for Wrestle Kingdom on this show, I think, which helps also. And of course, you know, the first IWGP women's title match. So there's going to be some things I think will create buzz coming out of it.
Yes.
So I'm hoping it does well. It's probably not going to be the biggest pay-per-view they ever did. And, you know, the thing is, like, I have recently started watching STARDOM. I picked it up at the very end of the 5-Star Grand Prix. Like I subscribing to the service, I've watched STARDOM over the years, key matches and things like that. But I've been a little bit more into the day-to-day stuff since then. I subscribed to World of Stardom in addition to my NJPW World subscription, knowing that these companies were going to be working together more in the very near future. And I gotta say, if you give this stuff a chance, I know you are, but I'm just saying, people at home, if you give this a chance, there is some excellent talent and really good matches coming from STARDOM right here. And it does look and is worked differently than New Japan. It's not strong style. It's a different style, and it adds a nice little high-speed variety to the card. I think it's going to be a healthy partnership.
Yeah, everything about this just seems like a match made in heaven between the two companies. The talent, the pedigree, everything about it is just like it all seems to fit. It all seems to work well, and I'm personally really enthusiastic. I want to make sure that's clear. I just felt like as a whole, for what this card is and how special the potential it has to be, it hasn't catapulted itself to that penetration in the wrestling community.
Yeah, maybe not. I'm hoping that it picks up, and I don't know I don't know. I'm here in Texas. I don't know what things are like over in Japan, if people are really excited about this or not. I hope they are, and but it is something very, very interesting, and certainly they've added some things to it over the last few weeks that I think will generate some interest among casual fans and things like the Muta match and you know, so. We've got the full card. We're going to run it down right here, and we're going to take a look. So I suppose we start with the biggest match there, the main event. Jeremy, this is one we're talking about. They're main eventing with the women's match. They have a perfectly good match for the on the men's side that we're going to talk about as the semifinal, but they are ending with the match to determine the first ever IWGP Women's Championship, and it is a match that is more than worthy of main eventing any card. And this is Mayu Iwatani who is one of the very pillars of Stardom Wrestling. She was on the very first Stardom show. She has been one of their top stars ever since, and has a fascinating story to her as well. And she is facing Kairi, formerly Kairi Hojo in Japan, Kairi Sane in the United States. And this is the tournament final to determine the first women's champion. It is said that Io Shirai, Kairi Hojo, and Mayu Iwatani are some of the pillars that built Stardom. Now, Shirai and Kairi had worked for other companies before Stardom was formed. Iwatani is homegrown, and their presence there at the beginning helped to establish this company to begin with. There it is right there. You have this match. Iwatani's selling is on a different level than everybody else. She's a fantastic worker. She has a connection with the crowd, pure babyface, absolutely pure babyface that no one else has. And Kairi is, of course, one of the best female workers in the world. And we saw that with WWE. We've seen it over and over with Stardom. It's going to be a great match. I think they picked the right two women for several different reasons here to have this main event. And what are your thoughts on this one as someone who's seen Kairi and maybe not as much Mayu? I know you've seen some Iwatani matches, but as somebody in the United States, and again, this IWGP Women's title has the United States a little bit in mind here. Again, we've talked about why they're even creating this is because culturally in North America and in other countries, not just in North America, but that's where they're doing most of their outside of Japan business. It seems strange to fans not to have women matches on the card. And of course, in Japan, they have women's promotions, not women's divisions. So that there are entire companies of women's wrestlers and excellent ones, not just Stardom. There are several. But Stardom is, of course, owned by Bushiroad, the same conglomerate that owns New Japan. So they felt that when they are in front of audiences that expect more of a mixed card, that this would be a way to do it. They're going to use Stardom workers. They already have the best women's promotion in Japan. They're going to use those workers. And a lot of these matches are going to be on key matches, key cards in Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, perhaps Dominion, maybe some others. The pay-per-view level cards is what they're talking about. And also bringing this to the United States when they tour the U.S., having this title for women's wrestlers to fight over there. So with that in mind, as someone who is, just getting used to the Stardom and things, what are your thoughts on Kairi and Iwatani going into this?
So I've seen a few Iwatani matches throughout my life, and the woman could deliver in a match. And obviously I've seen way more Kairi and Kairi Sane. Her elbow off the top is one of those things that is viscerally burned in my brain, if you will. To me, there's no wrong decision for the winner of this match. There is arguments to be made for both. They are both more than eminently qualified to be a flag bearer, title carrier of this title. And we've talked about this match for a few times off and on. And, the first winner of a new title sets the tone and sets the prestige for this title. Either one of these women could do it. And I think as relevant and irrelevant as who wins this match, I think it is fundamentally more important to draw the highlight. This is the main event. These two women are main eventing a mixed gender card.
Yeah.
And if they weren't, there would be a lot of criticism over both companies about what they were planning to do and all this stuff. They never wavered. This was always the main event of the show. This was always the plan. And frankly, they're two talents that are wholly deserving of being at the top of the card. If I had to pick, I would guess Kairi would win, but it's not worth putting any money on because, frankly, we're the winners for getting to get this match in the first place.
It's important to note that Stardom is booking this title, even though it's going to be a New Japan title and IWGP. It's labeled the IWGP title. So that's worth noting here. Kairi is not so far a full-time Stardom wrestler. She is more has been more making major, important appearances since. She's also got a match the night before this one in a match on a card there too. So she's making a few more appearances here. It depends on how they want to portray this. If the idea is they're going to be doing, if this title is going to be appearing on big shows and then in the US, Kairi makes a lot of sense because fans in the US are more familiar with her than they are Mayu. Mayu's he's been to the US before. Now, if they want to just say, no, this is Kairi and she is going to put over our all-time icon, our homegrown all-time icon, then Kairi would be the person to do it because, again, she has credibility with everyone here in the U.S. And you could just say, well, we're going to go with our number one person, Iwatani, there. Both make sense. I feel like Iwatani is going to hold this title, but it might be smart to make a chase out of it and put it on somebody that the fans know, similar to what AEW did with Chris Jericho, right? You have somebody that, oh, okay, that's a champion. I get that. I understand this. I don't know this company that well, but that guy's a champion. I understand that. You can do that with Kairi, and that way, as Iwatani kind of climbs the ladder and chases her down, then it might make the Iwatani win a little bit more important when it eventually. I expect Iwatani to hold this title eventually. She holds every title there, and should. So that's kind of my thought on it. I'm leaning toward Kairi, but I wouldn't be shocked if they just said, "Here's our flag bearer. She's the IWGP champion." Still leaning toward Kairi.
The only thing that gives me any pause was the reaction that Mayu got at the Rumble shows. That it did not seem like she was as big a star. Just because of the presentation of the show. And so if someone who hasn't watched a whole lot were to go in and see this show and then see Mayu, they would not get the scope and level of what this woman is capable of.
Right.
So when you think about the Western world and what they know generally of the two, like you said, Kairi makes a lot of sense.
All right, and we'll see what happens with that, what should be a terrific main event. Now, we have another big match here for the U.S. title, and this is an all New Japan match. This is, of course, challenger Shota Umino coming off of a terrific match at the Royal Quest 2 show over in England, challenging once again Will Ospreay for the IWGP US title. Shota Umino just made his triumphant return to Japan back in from Excursion officially very recently and challenged Will Ospreay, laid him out. There's a lot of layers to this one too. It's for the US title. There's no doubt it's going to be good. The question is, what story are they going to tell out of this? There have been, that his father is Red Shoes Umino, the main event referee. Will he be involved? Of course, he stopped the match at Royal Quest as part of the storyline when Ospreay was landing forearms to the back of his son's head. So, again, similar with this one, Jeremy, there's a couple ways you could go. What are the plans for Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom? Seems to be the determining factor in who wins this one in some ways. I mean, it could be, but I keep thinking that if the match at Wrestle Kingdom is Ospreay and Jon Moxley, because he has all that history with Shota Umino in New Japan, having been his partner, having taken Shooter under his wing. Umino was walking around with the leather jacket, the Death Rider jacket, even though he has his own thing with the roughneck Shota Umino. It seems like there was a Jon Moxley shadow hanging over that entire run-in. Yes, he's hovering nearby in spirit, if not in person. And it just feels like that might be where they're going with this, that maybe Will does something rough to Shota, and that brings Moxley to Japan for Wrestle Kingdom. But if they want to just make this revenge, you could put Shooter over and really launch him as the U.S. champion. But I kind of feel like this is going to be a setup for whoever Ospreay's special opponent is at Kingdom. What do you think?
So, having a ref stoppage in their last match and then going to a U.S. title match is bold. So I feel like this is setting up a trilogy of matches in which this is the second match. I do not think Shota Umino is going to win this match. I do think that he will get pinned rather than get a ref stoppage. It will be close, but there is a story here that you don't go 0 to 60 in a ref stoppage and then turn around and win the title.
Right.
So there is a journey here for Shota Umino, and he's heralding part of a generation of young lions that are making their return right now. The future's bright. There's no rush. There's no hurry. He can build himself up and clearly look like he's massively increased his ability in the ring against Ospreay based off of the Royal Quest storyline going into this one. So your Moxley Cloud seems sound.
Okay.
And so I think everything that you have going on is probably pretty accurate.
I know, Jeremy, that you and I were both hoping that we were going to see Kenny Omega against Will Ospreay, and there's a lot of things going on in politics and things behind all that. It just feels a little more Moxish to me right now.
Yeah.
And the timing works, doesn't it? Because Moxley gave up his vacation after the whole fiasco at All Out, and gave up his vacation for that to hold the title. I feel like he's going to drop it to MJF here and do that whole storyline of MJF finally earns something as a babyface. Then Moxley could take his vacation. He could come back at Wrestle Kingdom, and there's just ways for that.
There's plenty down the line. I do think that this weekend will make very clear a lot of the plans for January.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. And either way, this is going to be a good match, whatever it sets up. I mean, we've already seen that these two work very well together, and Will Ospreay right now might possibly, depending on who you talk to, be the best wrestler in the world.
No, he is. Yes.
Yeah, I think he is. Well,
I'm in that camp.
We think on this show. Yeah, we think on this show. Yes. So, yeah, so that'll be good. So now the other thing is, here's another New Japan match. I'm going to bring it up here in just a moment. The Great Muta's final match in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That seems absolutely amazing, but here it is. This is one we didn't see coming until he made that surprise appearance at Korakuen Hall, spraying the mist in Great-O-Khan's face. We're getting this 6-man tag as a special attraction, and it is a special attraction, isn't it? Kazuchika Okada, Toru Yano, and the Great Muta against the United Empire team of Great-O-Khan, Aaron Henare, and Jeff Cobb. Muta in a New Japan ring for the final time. It's going to be very interesting. This is one of those matches where the result doesn't really matter. It's not going to be part of any long-term storyline. It's just a matter of one of the all-time legends having his final match in the company in which he built his name. He's an all-timer, Jeremy. We're going to see him for the final time, and he's in with some really good workers. Should be fun.
I think you're exactly right. This is a showcase just to be like, Muta, we love you, buddy. And so I am hoping this match delivers, and I don't have anything other than, get a tub of popcorn and have some fun. There's nothing really tracking towards Wrestle Kingdom regarding this match. Everybody's got their own things going on immediately prior and after this. This is just like a moment in time and a match that we're going to see.
Yeah. And it should be interesting to see. And, they're going to have to carry him. Muta's body is basically shot. He doesn't move around very well. So this is going to be him doing a couple of very key spots while the rest of the guys work the match. But, he's also very, very intelligent about when he does those spots and when he slips his stuff in. So I think when he does it, it'll be good. And it'll just be it's nice. I'm happy this is happening because I think the New Japan fans really deserve a chance to say goodbye to him. And he's going to be working for a lot of different promotions. He's got a big one against Shinsuke Nakamura coming up.
His farewell tour is massive.
The man's doing it right. And it shows you how he has managed to keep good relations with almost everyone in wrestling. He is appearing for everyone, and it doesn't appear to be any kind of political issues. No one's panicking over anything. He seems to have had a legendary career while making a lot of friends. So the fact that it's ending with him being able to do this kind of farewell tour is gratifying to me.
I had one thought about this match. Would you be excited if Toru Yano and Great Muta did a dual spitting spot?
Yeah, they could do it. They could do it. Absolutely. Yano's one of the great spitters of our era right there.
I think that's why this match. I think that's a lock is that they're going to have a shenanigan team up move to win the match. Toru Yano and Great Muta shenaniganing together.
Shenanigan. I like that. That should be a word. Okay, next one we have is this one. This is a multi-person match. This is an all-skate, I like to call them. This is where there are matches on this card, by the way, that's specifically designed to just get a lot of people on the card. This is one of them. You have basically the entire LIJ unit right now. Titan has headed back to Mexico. Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Takahashi, Bushi, and Sonata against the rest of the United Empire. Basically, almost the rest of them. You have
those are tag league and super tag league teams joining up, right?
So yes, you have Aussie Open there, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, Gideon Gray, and then the junior heavyweight tag champions TJP and Francesco Akira. So this will probably be fast paced and fun, but again, more of a preview for the tag team tournaments coming up than anything else.
Yeah, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, Shingo. There's so much talent in here, and Gideon Gray, I love him. I went from tolerating him to liking him. I love him.
He's definitely entertaining, and I think that this will probably be a pretty entertaining match. Again, not a ton of storyline coming off of this one. Right now, Naito and Sonata are two of our favorites, along with Aussie Open. We think that both of those teams are going to finish high in that tag team tournament. Akira and TJP are the junior tag champions. We expect them to do very well in the tournament, probably not win it because, what's the point of the tournament if the champions win? But a lot of talent, like you said, and some very good tag teams. And again, it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys work together. But this does feel like a match that could be on a house show in Japan.
Yeah, I definitely want to call this the Hall of Fame candidate match.
The Hall of Fame candidate match. That's true.
Yeah, you got two of them in there, and more of them.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So what's up next? Oh yes, the Tanahashi match. So now this one. Now we're starting to get into these mixed tag team matches, and they're fascinating on their own. Let me let's see. I got to find the card. So now let me see if I'm doing this here. There we go. I got it. Now, normally when you do this show, you see all these pictures coming up and these scrolls across the bottom of the screen, and it looks like we have a producer handling all this for us. Jeremy's that good at it. It happens seamlessly. Today, I'm in charge.
Giving me so much credit lately, and I'm flattered, but it's like, oh, man.
Today, I'm in charge, so everything is just like, oh gosh, let me make sure I hit this button correctly, and I have to.
You're doing great, buddy. You're doing
thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm pulling for you. We got a good coach.
Here we got the picture there. It is okay. Now we're getting into these mixed tag team matches, and these have some interesting combinations to them, of course. Now they're following the standard rules of today's mixed tag matches. You will not see the men in there with the women. It's when one tag is made, the other tag is made, essentially. So you have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Utami Hayashishita against Maika and Hiroki Goto, and with this one you have someone now, Utami Hayashishita, she is the leader of her faction, which is Queen's Quest. And then you have Donna Del Mundo, Maika, that's her faction, Donna Del Mundo. And so you have two different factions there. Of course, you have Tanahashi is part of Hantai, the classic babyface group in New Japan. Hiroki Goto is part of Chaos. They are kind of pushing this one as Hayashishita is we have the once in a century talent of Hiroshi Tanahashi, and then you have like a classic talent like Hayashishita. The other mixed tags have a little bit tighter theme to their teams than this one does. What you just have here are four great workers. Maika is coming off an excellent match where she challenged Shuri, who's going to be on this card also, for the World of Stardom Championship, one of their top titles. Wonderful match. She didn't win the title from Shuri, but it was terrific. Hayashishita is always a top contender for all the titles, and Goto and Tanahashi are just terrific wrestlers. So other matches on the card have a bit of a tighter theme to them as far as their partnerships go. But I'm not going to complain about four terrific workers being in a match together.
This is like when you go to an ice cream shop and you're like, hey, can I get a couple more toppings on my ice cream cup? Because that really looks good and that really looks good. Yeah. This is one of the premium toppings on the card. There's no storyline really for the New Japan side for any of this. No. So the whole thing is just like it's an exhibition match and it's gonna be great. Like I'm just like great. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be fabulous, and it should be really interesting to see all these people working together here. And you just have, like I said, four terrific workers. And Hayashishita and Maika don't particularly have a storyline going on, but Hayashishita was in the IWGP Women's Title Tournament. She's basically the leader of Queen's Quest. Good grief, Queen's Quest, and it'll be pretty great there. This one does have a bit more of a theme. This one here now, this is odd, isn't it, Jeremy? Because we have the men here are two different sides of Suzuki-gun. The women are from two very different factions in Stardom. So here's what we got: Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Taichi. On the outside, they are with Natsupoi and Tam Nakano. Now, Natsupoi and Tam Nakano are the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. Natsupoi has recently joined the Cosmic Angels group, although it seems like she's more cosmic angel-y than the rest of the members of Cosmic Angel. She's like made for this group, which is kind of based on the idea of like some of the girl group stuff. Like there's some choreography and singing that goes into their entrances and stuff like that.
They're pop band,
pop idols, and so they fit in with Taichi. Right, so like Natsupoi and Tam Nakano have kind of a choreography and a lip syncing to their theme song that they do, and of course Taichi is such a great singer, Jeremy, that he doesn't even need to use his mouth to do it, as we see constantly before his matches. Just such a talent. And on the other side,
a lot of work.
On the other side, we have Desperado and Doki, Starlight Kid, and Momo Watanabe. Now they are part of Oedo Tai, which is the Bullet Club of Stardom, in that these are the pure heels. It's the only group in Stardom that are pure heels. Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe. So they fit in with Suzuki-gun, that whole thing. But the Suzuki-gun guys have made comments that they kind of like fighting each other. It's going to feel good to, because they playing off the idea that, they're riding in the same bus, they're traveling together all the time, and they kind of irritate each other a little bit. So they're kind of looking forward to the idea of smacking each other around a little. And then there is a natural rivalry between Starlight and Momo Watanabe, who are they're doing their tag team tournament as well. So Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe won a piece of the champions, of course, and then they want to win that tournament and take those titles from the champions and things. So there is story here. There is rivalry in this one. And again, we have the singing theme on the one side and the more pure heel on the other. So again, Starlight Kid and Nakano and Natsupoi Watanabe, these are four excellent women's wrestlers. And I think we're going to be seeing something really good come out of this, actually.
I remember seeing on social media a couple of days ago, Taichi, Kanemaru, Nakano, and Natsupoi training together in their gear. And I thought, man, that's just really cool. I don't know why I brought that up, other than it's just really cool to see that. Yeah. I do think that given the firepower on that side of the four, I think the other team's going to win. I think this is Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe getting a pin somewhere along the way against the tag champs. Everything else just kind of seems, why would you have one of the lessers of the stable defeat the other? And if Nakano and Natsupoi have titles, there's no reason for them to win in a match the titles aren't on the line.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think that the only story to tell here is that the challengers are coming for them. Yeah. Moving on to the next one, and I'll tell you what, Jeremy, aside from the main event, which I'm so looking forward to with Iwatani and Kairi, I'm looking forward to this match second most on the card, including any of the men's matches in the New Japan stuff. This is fascinating. So you have here, do you want to talk about backstory? We got this one for you. Tom Lawler and Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, all day. Yes, please. Anytime these two want to wrestle each other, I'm in, right? Same thing for Shuri and Julia. Here's what we have here. So Shuri is the World of Stardom champion. Julia just won the 5-star Grand Prix, their version of the G1 Climax tournament. On December 29th, these two are going to meet for that title. There is a big backstory here. Shuri used to be part of Donna Del Mundo. Julia is a leader of Donna Del Mundo. Shuri broke away and formed God's Eye, her own faction, where she's the leader. She is holding the big title belt. Julia has just won the G1, and she's challenging her for it. They used to be stablemates. Now there's that bitterness from the breakup, and now they're going to meet in the main event of one of the biggest shows of the year for Stardom, so it's a preview for that. Shuri has a karate and a martial arts background, so she's perfect with Tom Lawler. Julia, one of the more violent, stiffer women in Stardom. If you watch her matches, look and sound a little different than most. She's a perfect match for Zack Sabre Jr., of course, the submission master, and the vegan Hydra, as Kevin Kelly was calling him for a long time. There's this is going to be very, very intriguing. And I'm already calling him Zack Sabre Julia as a team. I think it's perfect.
That's great. That's great.
And I'm in for this one.
ZSG.
I want to see Julia and Shuri in the ring together. I want to see Lawler and Sabre in the ring together. This can't go wrong in my book.
So, do you know the historical aspect of this match?
Of the Lawler Sabre part of it, or just in?
No,
okay.
general.
Oh, this will be. Oh, yeah, because of its order on the card. This is going to be the first mixed tag, isn't it?
This is the trivia question of what is the first mixed tag on a New Japan show in New Japan history. Will be Tom Lawler and Siri versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Julia. This is it. It's pretty special if you think about it, and it's an honor for all people involved because there's only a first time that this is going to happen, and these are the people they chose to do it.
So it's worth it watching any combination of these that you're going to see in this match, because these are two of the better women in Stardom, and like I said, they've loaded this show with most of the best women in Stardom. You're seeing a lot of their top wrestlers in this. They're throwing their best stuff at this show, so it's going to be good to see. All right, so we have that one. Now, next thing, we have a 6-woman tag. Now, this one is here's the backstory on this one. This is an all-Stardom match. So we have this is a team here. I'm going to get this right. Queen's Quest on the left there. That's Lady C, Azumi, which is stylized to AZM, and Saya Kamitani. Now, they're going to be taking on this team of Donna Del Mundo. So on the right, you have some of Julia's stablemates. So that's Mai Sakurai, Tekla, and Himeka. Again, everyone is very good. Everyone's very capable. The story in this one is Lady C and Sakurai have formed a tag team and are in the tag team tournament despite being in different factions. So they're doing a cross faction thing. It's not going well, Jeremy. They are fighting each other more than they're fighting as much as they're fighting their opponents. Yikes. So this is a chance after some nastiness in the tag team tournament where they're trying to partner up, and it's just, every match there's some sort of issue right there. They're going to have a chance to hit each other in the mouth. So I expect there to be a little extra steam on the Lady C Mai Sakurai matchup.
This is probably one of the matches I know the least about. But it's going to be one of those matches that I'm going to be watching with the most interest, because there is going to be a lot of work being done by the commentators to get you as up to speed as you need to be to understand everything that's going on. Do we know the commentators for this show? Is it Charlton and Kelly?
As far as I know, yeah. I don't. Yeah. Stardom doesn't usually have an English announced team, so I would imagine it's going to be
kind of what I. That's probably going to have to change soon. But for now, we're doing okay.
Hey, you can have my phone. My Twitter is at the bottom of the screen. If anybody at Stardom needs
so
I will do that for you.
This is gonna be a good match. Just off of gut feeling.
Sure, yeah, and Azumi is the high-speed champion, and she's excellent. Everyone here is good. Saya Kamitani is excellent, and so there's a lot of. There's always good talent in this thing. Here is the next one, and again, this is where there are matches that are just to get guys on the card. I think this falls into that. Leo Rush and Yo, who is are a new tag team going into the junior heavyweight tournament. Mm-hmm. Yoshihashi and Ishii is kind of just a couple of chaos guys that didn't have anything else going on this show, so they put them in there with Sho and Dick Togo. Evil, Yujiro Takahashi. Again, a couple of teams that are going to be in tag team tournaments coming up, and this one's going to be our opener.
To be fair, you can't have a New Japan card without Evil on it.
Apparently not. Apparently not. So, but
you can go without Jay White, but no Evil.
But it'll be good for
you. Get that's one bridge too far.
It'll be good to see Leo Rush and Yo a little bit and get some reps in before the tag team tournament. So there'll be that one. And then we have 2 kickoff matches that I wanted to mention. First, there's going to be a Ranbo, a Stardom Ranbo. So 15 workers that haven't been announced already. They haven't said exactly which 15, but that's most of the rest of the roster. It's a healthy part of the roster. That's a Royal Rumble style match. They call them Rambos in Japan. So again, another thing to get more people on the show and get them out there in front. And this is the kickoff show. And then you will have a mostly Young Lions match. And I think we have a card for that one, don't we? Let's see. Ha! Boy, I'm undefeated today. Here we go. So this one is interesting for the kickoff match because of that man in the upper left corner, Jeremy, Oscar Lube, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly. Kevin Kelly might correct me on Sunday, but we'll see. He is a brand new young lion. He is from Europe. I don't remember the exact country, Eastern Europe. And Yuji Nagata has brought him in. We're going to get our first look at him. It's his debut match, teaming with the other Japanese young lions of Fujita, Oiwa, and Nakashima against some of the LA Dojo guys. You got Clark Connors, you got Alex Coughlin, Gabriel Kidd, Kevin Knight. And I would imagine this is just going to be getting Oscar in there carefully, and probably with only a few things there, and everybody else can just go 100 miles an hour since it's the opening match of the evening.
Do you know anything about him? Is he any good?
I very little. He is pretty new, so it's a little bit surprising that he's having his debut already. I mean, he's been there for a while because they will have people in the dojo before they even let him go around ringside and point toward the various aisles for the main roster guys. So he's been there a little bit, but he's just recently been at ringside in the last month or two.
And he was introduced before a show. Was it Royal Quest he was introduced at?
I think so.
Yeah,
it's been a little.
It was never aired, but it made social media that he was brought out and all that stuff. So I'm curious. It would be amazing if he was like a fully developed wrestler and he just came out and blew everyone away. But that's like the highest possible outcome of this match. I think he's going to have a couple of things. He's clearly got enough skill for the company to feel confident of him being in an opening match of a historic card. But beyond that, my eyebrows are raised in curiosity.
We'll find out together, won't we? So there you have it, folks. And that is our preview of the historic crossover show coming up again, very early hours, the wee hours of the morning of November 20th. And we're looking forward to seeing this historic cards. We're going to get a brand new champion. We're going to have a U.S. title match, Great Muta's farewell, and the first mixed tag team matches in New Japan /Stardom history. And should be a really fun day. So I'm looking forward to it, Jeremy. Any final thoughts from you on this show?
Honestly, when we started, it felt like a big deal with the lower B, and I'm getting more excited after we ran down the card. And unfortunately, I will not be here to recap the show early next week, but we will have a guest joining Steven, and it is Scott Edwards of the 5-Star Joshi Show. So if you're watching this and you love Scott Edwards, smile further because he'll be here to talk the show with Steven while I attend to some other things.
Very, very few people know more about women's Japanese wrestling, the entire culture of it, and the workers than Scott. So it's a perfect time to have him on the show to talk about these matches and what we see here. He is absolutely an expert by any definition. So very grateful to Scott for stepping in, and we're going to have a good show there. That'll be coming up Tuesday. So looking forward to that. So with that, we're going to be signing off here in just a minute. You see our socials down there at the bottom. Anything you wanted to add, Jeremy?
No. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. If you celebrate, and stay warm, stay dry, stay happy with the family over the next couple weeks.
All right. And once again, we thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. I know that you've got a million things going on, but I definitely appreciate you joining us here. It's always good to hear what you're thinking. It always puts it in perspective for me. And I'm very grateful to have you on the show here today on this little mini version of Speaking of Strong Style. And thanks for putting up with my bumbling over all of this production stuff here. But
you don't give yourself enough credit, Steven. You do great.
Thank you very much. So for Jeremy Finestone, I'm Steven Conway. Make sure you check out the Fight Game Media Network. We're talking about the YouTube stream, the podcast stream, the Patreon. All of it is it's a great place to get your information on all combat sports. For Jeremy Finestone, I am Steven Conway. Thank you for joining us. And speaking of Strong Style, we'll see you again very soon.